A major cruise line has made a huge but subtle change to vaccine requirements on their website. Also, it seems like the state of Florida is telling cruises, you can start under any circumstances, we just want you to resume operations. We got to talk about this. Well, hello everyone. If you're just joining us, my name is Jordan and this is CDC Cruise. We're a YouTube channel all about the obsession and passion of cruise travel. And if you could do me a favor and hit that subscribe button, ring that bell notification, it would mean the world to us. It is something that is free to you, but it is a huge support. And if you like our videos, if you could hit that like button, subscribe to our channel so we can keep bringing you cruise content like this. Now, let's get into this news today, which is pretty incredible. If you have not been following Royal Caribbean, let me just catch you up to speed in terms of what they are doing. Now, obviously, cruises have not been able to go out of or specifically United States ports for the last 15 months due to CDC guidance and the no sail order. Royal Caribbean said, you know what, that's fine. We will go ahead and take our ships elsewhere. We know that they have been sailing out of Singapore since December and then coming here in the next few weeks. They're going to start sailing on Adventure of the Seas out of Nassau, Bahamas. We will be on that cruise. We'll be bringing you every piece of content that you're asking for in terms of what cruising is like in this new world. Now, an interesting new bill was just passed allowing ships to cruise on the West Coast up to Alaska and bypass Canada. We already know that this happened. This happened earlier this past week. But this means that ships are going to actually sail out of U.S. ports this summer. It is going to happen. And Royal Caribbean now has 2 ships planned with 7-night itineraries all the way up to Alaska out of Seattle. The ships are going to be Serenade of the Seas and Ovation of the Seas. However, now the question of vaccines come into play, because for the Bahamas cruise, it is a vaccine-required cruise. When we booked, it was if you were 18 and up, you had to have the vaccine, and you had to be fully vaccinated with 14 days after your last dose of whatever vaccine you received. Now this has changed very subtly. The vaccine age has dropped to 16, so now they are saying if you are 16 years old, you will need to get the vaccine. We talked about this earlier in the week. This is not too much of a surprise. Celebrity also made this a requirement for 16 and up to get the vaccine. However, Royal Caribbean on their website now says that this is basically their mandate or their rule in order to cruise until August 1st. So up until August 1st, if you are 16 years of age and up, you must be vaccinated to cruise. After August 1st, the vaccine requirement does not go away. It drops to the age of 12. So after August 1st, all passengers 12 and up must have the vaccine to sail on Royal Caribbean ships. This means that Royal Caribbean is going to be a vaccine requirement if you are going to sail on that cruise line. Now, Norwegian also came out and they said that they were going to make a requirement for 100% of their passengers and crew to be vaccinated. We don't exactly know how this works out because, you know, what about under the age of 12? Vaccines are not eligible for small kids as of yet. They might be later. And Carnival obviously has come out and said, well, the majority of our sailors are under the age of 12, so we really can't make the vaccine a requirement. I'm so intrigued to see what the response to this is going to be, because there has not been this like big announcement by Royal Caribbean. All that happened was they updated their website and they changed their vaccine requirements. So, I'm putting the question out to you. Does this mean you're done with Royal Caribbean? Will you no longer sail on Royal Caribbean and you will move cruise lines? You will jump ship and go to a Carnival or, you know, another cruise line that potentially is not going to require vaccines? Disney is another one that, you know, we've kind of talked about that they might not actually be requiring vaccines either because the majority of their sailors are also young. Or does this make you feel like you're ready to book a Royal Caribbean cruise? Like, you know, like you're vaccinated, you're ready, like, hey, let's go. and let's get aboard these ships and let's start cruising again. The good news is I really do believe that these vaccinated ships are going to feel like cruising as it was. With Celebrity, they've come out and said that masks will no longer really be required for vaccinated passengers. And Royal Caribbean, we received another update yesterday. It was not much of an update, but they keep promising that they're going to stay in touch with all of us that are on the June 12th sailing to make sure that we know that the protocols are coming. So I still believe that we'll probably have some news maybe next week about masks on the ships, but my gut is telling me that masks will probably not be required aboard these vaccinated cruise ships. Whereas if you do go on an unvaccinated cruise, or you are not vaccinated and you climb on board like a Carnival, you probably will be wearing a mask most places, because right now, a lot of people don't realize this, there's 42 ships at sea right now with passengers. There are 42 cruises happening this week. There's many of those cruises that are not vaccine requirements. So they're happening, and from my perspective, they're proving that they can do it. But there's very tight restrictions. There's very tight rules on masks. And that's really the only way that they can do it, to ensure that all the guests can sail safely, and that there's not, risk of outbreaks. So I think it can happen. I think that there will be unvaccinated cruises that we will see happen still here in 2021. Supposedly these Carnival cruise ships, the first week of July, we don't know what's going on with those, but Carnival says they're going. We're sailing. And Jared and I are on aboard Carnival Horizon, taking off on the 4th of July. So as soon as we hear anything from the cruise lines, when we hear more about Adventure of the Seas, what the mask requirement will be, when we hear what's going on with Carnival, we'll try to find out. Now, Carnival did say they are going to have Alaska sailings with Carnival Miracle, and those sailings will have a vaccine requirement. Now, that's not too surprising. We know that Alaska sailings are not typically a lot of kids. They are more for adults, and the age demographic on those ships are much older. So that's not too surprising. But when we're talking about these Carnival ships sailing out of Texas, out of Alabama, out of Florida, we know that it is a lot of families. If you've ever been on a Carnival cruise ship, there are quite a few families that do sail on those ships with young kids. Okay, now the second piece of news that we have to share with you today is that the state of Florida, the Surgeon General from Florida, sent a letter to the CEO of Royal Caribbean, Michael Bailey, basically saying that the state of Florida is in full support of cruising operations, and that the state really has no say on how they resume their cruises or what they would like to do, and that they want them to get back up and started, and they want to support them, and they want to do whatever they have to do to make cruising happen again for Royal Caribbean. I think that there's a really, really good relationship between the government and Royal Caribbean Cruise Line. Obviously, a week and a half ago, we saw that whole tuft between the governor of Florida and the CEO of Norwegian, and Norwegian saying, we'll go elsewhere. Well, per this letter, Norwegian might not actually have to go elsewhere, because this letter really, really made it sound like any new mandates that the state of Florida are putting in place do not really apply to the cruise lines. Now, this might be because the cruise lines are registered in other countries. This might be because the cruise lines really have to work with the federal government, and that it's more important that we know that that's true because they're working with the CDC and have to get CDC approval to get cruises up and going again. But from my perspective, this is fantastic news, because this means that Royal Caribbean can really get these port agreements started and start sailing out of Florida, which is where home base is for them. Y'all, I have 2 cruises in September on Symphony of the Seas out of Port of Miami, and I want to go on that ship like so bad. I'm looking forward. I've not sailed on Symphony yet, and I'm looking forward to our back-to-back in September. I'm like so nervous because I'm like, I don't know if it's going to happen or not. But I really do think this is a step in the right direction, and I think this is very, very good news. Honestly, I think these two pieces of news together are good news for Royal Caribbean. And if you're a vaccinated Royal Caribbean cruiser, I think that there's a lot of hope for you and for all of us, because I feel like, that's been the question. Is the state of Florida going to stand in the way of the cruise lines? And really, they're coming out and saying, we're not going to stand in the way. You do what you have to do to get up and going again. and we will do nothing but support you. I think that is just fantastic news. I'm interested to see if they end up sending a similar letter to Norwegian, to Carnival, to these other cruise lines as well, because Royal Caribbean was, they shared that they received this letter from Florida. We'll be watching to see if these other cruise lines also receive letters like this as well. But that is the news for today. Thank you all for joining us. What do you think of today's news? Did I just make you really upset with this news? Are you really happy with this news? If you follow our channel, Jared and I are really, really big Royal Caribbean cruisers. We love that. We love the line. We love the ships. We've been on a ton of Royal Caribbean cruises at this point. We have, I think, 18 booked currently for the future. So we're really, really big Royal Caribbean people. That being said, we love Norwegian, we love Carnival, we also cruise on those lines. We love cruising, and that's why we have this channel. But tell me what you think. Tell me what you think about all this Royal Caribbean news. If you like it, if you don't like it, if you agree, if you disagree. The comments are open for discussion. We want to hear your opinion, and we invite you to share it with all of us. And before you go, if you could hit that subscribe button, ring that bell notification, that would mean the world to us. Again, it is free to you. It means the world to us. Join us on Facebook, join us on Instagram, and until next time, see ya.